The studio lights were hot, the kind that made a man sweat even if he wasn't nervous. But JD Vance wasn't sweating. He sat calmly in the center chair, posture firm, expression unreadable. Across from him sat the panel. 3 hosts, all polished smiles and perfect hair, and 1 guest reporter brought in for balance, or so they said. She was young, sharp-tongued, and wearing a smirk even before the camera started rolling. Her name was Melissa Grant, a rising liberal commentator with a reputation for intellectual takedowns and viral moments. She specialized in snark. Her columns were full of clever barbs, dressed up as insights. Tonight's topic was supposed to be policy, but everyone in the room knew that wasn't what would trend online. What they really wanted was a takedown. As the segment began, she leaned forward and took the first shot, not directly, of course, but with the carefully veiled mockery of someone who thought herself untouchable. She referenced JD's past, his upbringing in Appalachia, his memoir Hillbilly Elegy, twisting it into a punchline. "It's fascinating," she said to the host, not even looking at him, "how someone can benefit from public systems and then dedicate his career to dismantling them." The panel chuckled, the host smirked, and JD just sat there, still, focused, letting the silence do the work. She took it as permission to continue. She spoke of backward voters, of grievance politics, of how his critiques of modern liberalism were just emotional appeals to resentment. Then came the laugh, quiet, condescending, the kind that pretends to be amused but aims to humiliate. It wasn't just disagreement, it was dismissal. That was the moment something shifted. JD leaned in, finally, but not with heat, with something colder. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't look angry. What he looked like was surgical. And then he spoke. He spoke not of himself, but of the people she mocked so casually. The coal miners with black lungs who raised grandkids while working 2 jobs. The single mothers who avoided government handouts because the bureaucracy treated them like criminals. The veterans in hollowed-out towns who came back from war only to be told they were the problem. He didn't offer applause lines. He laid out facts, brutal, unfiltered, inconvenient facts. He cited statistics on poverty that predated every administration she praised. He quoted legislation she had likely never read but had loudly supported. He revealed the real costs, not in dollars, but in dignity of a system that claimed to help but instead trapped people where they were. And then, the final cut, he recited the names. Names of men and women from his home county who had died of overdoses in the past 6 months. One by one, 10 names. Slowly, the laughter was gone. The panel shifted in their seats. Melissa's smile faltered, her hand twitching near her notes. But there was nothing left to say. No zinger could erase the truth. No viral moment could spin raw pain into a political win. When the segment ended, there was no standing ovation, just a silence that lingered longer than the outro music. He walked out of the studio alone, no entourage, no PR team. The next morning, the clip went viral, not for her laugh, but for his stare, for his control. For the moment, he didn't take the bait, but buried the blade beneath facts no one could dismiss. And for once, the comments didn't cheer the snark. They didn't want jokes. They wanted truth. And JD Vance had delivered it. As the days passed, the networks moved on. Another scandal, another headline. But the clip of that moment, the smirk, the silence, the dismantling, continued to spread. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. The think pieces came, some in his favor, others desperate to reframe what had happened. But none could quite erase the image of a man who didn't flinch when mocked, who didn't fight with fury, but with facts that left no oxygen for spin. Melissa Grant stayed quiet. No clever follow-up tweet. No appearance on the next panel. The smirk that once opened doors now hung like a weight on her reputation. And JD? He went back home. Back to the quiet hills where names meant something. He didn't need to say he'd won. The truth had done that for him. Because sometimes, the most powerful answer to laughter isn't a louder voice. It's the kind of silence that makes people remember what matters. And when the noise fades, all that's left is what's true.